So we're starting that stream right now. We're on YouTube, and I need to go ahead and tweet this out too. So Sherwin
and Rusty's got to build the whatever that frame model is for the YouTube, which he may have already done. But
you know me, I'm a little bit ahead usually.
So we do have a couple of NASCAR things that we have to cover. Because there was some big news this past week, but it's going to be heavy on. What y'all's relationship with college football and your relationship with the Georgia Bulldogs, and we'll just get over the fact that y'all beat us all the time, and
are about to put a dirty whooping on what.
And then I'd love to hear Corey talk about his perspective of playing football in Chickamauga for Tori's dad, and then what her perspective of being the daughter of a high school football coach is. And then we can talk about some Chickamauga history if we need to, and
rip it up.
Then we'll go from there. And what it was like for both of y'all growing up in Chickamauga.
Right on.
Lots of good stories.
Yeah.
Right. I guess I'm supposed to keep talking
for a bit.
Are you recording? Yeah, radio silence, dumbass.
Yeah, right.
I ran fresh out of words, but
well, that doesn't bode well.
Yeah,
we've got an hour of this mess.
Yeah, Corey, I hadn't finished it yet, but I really enjoyed hearing you on the Into a Biscuit podcast. I was listening
Into the Biscuit, yeah.
Into the Biscuit.
Yeah, with DJ and Drew, who we've also had on the podcast.
Yeah, man. So amongst y'all, I had my inbox was as full as it gets this morning, which means I got about 4 messages, and it was a bunch of people like, "Hey, man, I heard you on Into the Biscuit this morning, and I ain't gonna lie, I had forgotten that I had even recorded that episode." And I texted Drew. I was like, "Oh man, people are talking about my appearance on Into the Biscuit," and he goes, "Oh shit, you were on this week's episode." So they didn't remember us recording it either. So I bet it was a banger.
You're gonna have to listen to it at some point.
You know what? I'll tell you this: y'all come off like you definitely remembered it. So I guess you weren't too effed up.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, going through the show sheet as usual. Y'all both been on the show. We'll start it off and we'll disappear for about like a minute and a half or so, and then we'll come back and you'll hear us. You'll hear me kind of give you the intro and everything, and then we'll just go from there. We always talk about what you're drinking right now. We got questions for each of you, and then talking through Chickamauga stuff. Sherman's already talked through all that stuff. We'll get through it. We'll have us a blast and be on the other end. So y'all ready? Are y'all ready to roll?
Yeah, go ahead.
Ready.
You know what? And y'all both know we usually do about an hour. Do I have a time frame, Corey or Tori?
I just let her rip, man. It's good.
No, I'm good.
Awesome. Y'all the best.
I got to do another one after this, but it's mine, so it's fine.
Yeah.
I can do that whenever.
You can talk about this lame podcast you're on just moments prior.
Yeah.
Where they can't fill time with the dead space. Right.
Yeah, sorry I sound so bored and pissed off, but I just did this NASCAR podcast.
Perfect. All right. Well, we're ready to roll, and we'll disappear for about 90 seconds. We'll see y'all on the other side. Here we go. We're recording now. Welcome, yo! That's right. This is the Pregame Engineer Tailgate Mayor Racing Podcast, episode number 222. 222. It's Tuesday, November 26, 2019. I'm Tailgate Mayor Rusty Wallace. I'm in the PETM podcast studio with pregame engineer Andrew Sherwin. What's up, dude?
Oh, man, we got Chickamauga in the house.
No kidding. It's going to be a fun show. We've got some funny, we've got some fun, we've got some, maybe we'll learn something. We'll see.
We might. We probably will.
Before we do that, y'all know what the deal is. This podcast is sponsored by you. That's right. Go to patreon.com/PETM. Join the What's Drink Club for as little as $1 a month. Get that free koozie. Best part is every cent in 2019. We're once again donating to sponsored drivers. So join the PETM posse today. Be a part of the sport you love. This week's show brought to you something or other. Brought to you by our official sponsors at that $5 and up per month level. You know who they are. Here we go. Laura Henshaw, Aaron Bearden, Robert Kaplinger, Coleman McClam, Eric Kevin, Ryan Kiefer, Patrick Cleary, Jeff Brown, Brendan Crowd, Kathleen McDonald, Stacey Wright, Brandon Carl, Ricky Porter, John Bob Les Miller, Julie Bosses, John Pearson, Eddie Greer III, Younker Motorsports, David Mullins, Patrick Johnson, Brett Morris, Crystal Smoke. I ran out. Fred Rosado, Chad Knapp, Stacey Coleman, Matthew Camper, Lisa Chinana, Rick Houston, and Sarah and Barry. Whoops! You know how it is. Sometimes you hit the bar, and sometimes the bar hits you. Yeah. We got two, y'all. If you're on the YouTube, you're looking at them right now. Two very special guests tonight, both from Chickamauga, Georgia. She's the Georgia Tech beat reporter for The Athletic, and he's a comedian, author, and podcast host with the well-read comedy troupe. Welcome back to the show, Tori McElhaney and Corey Ryan Forrester. Tori, we'll start with you. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm so glad to be back on. It's been a while, but I'm really happy. I'm really happy to come back and talk to you guys.
Oh, we are so thankful
we got
that you're
two
around.
master's degrees to hand out tonight.
That's true. Yeah, 2 master's degrees. So we'll get you to the
what?
The PETM PhD is after the third. You've both got your bachelor's. Master's is tonight. So we'll have the ceremony after the show, and you send you a diploma or something like that, right? Corey, how are you doing, buddy?
What about it, boys? I'm good. I'm up here freezing my butt off in Webster City, Iowa, having a great time.
Webster City. If you pointed a gun at me and said, point to Webster City, I'd say, pull the trigger.
It's funny you say that because every time I'm in Webster City, I wish somebody would point a gun at me.
And there's probably plenty of people in Webster City, Iowa that would.
Yeah, that's true. But every single house is about 7 cornfields away, and nobody's that good of a shot.
Well, speaking of not good at a shot, what are you folks drinking tonight? Tori, what you got?
Well, I'm not drinking anything right now because 1, I'm not really feeling that well, and 2, I have another podcast to record in the morning.
Okay.
I'm going on Seth Emerson's Damn Good podcast, so I have to be on my game tonight and early tomorrow, so I couldn't bring myself to do anything tonight.
You know, when you said you've got another podcast, I thought you were going to say right after this. We knew Corey had one. I didn't know if y'all were like, hooking it up to do something crazy outside of this one. So
Yeah. Secret time.
Maybe at some point. Corey, what do you have tonight while you're riding around in the car?
Well, it was $2 pint night at the Gridiron in Webster City, Iowa. The Gridiron, which boasts what they claim is the best. The best tenderloin? Best tenderloin in the entire state of Iowa, which is that's quite a boast up here. So I got the $2 pint Coors Light, and then I'm headed home to drink whatever is in my father-in-law's brother's fridge.
Awesome. I hope you wipe it out.
Yes, please do.
Well, between me and all them fellers, I will.
Well, we're gonna do some.
They've been pheasant hunting all day. Do you know how you pheasant hunt in Iowa? I just learned this.
I would not know.
I know how I used to pheasant hunt, and it was
tell
not
me how
sober.
you used to do it, and I'll tell you if it's the same.
How'd you used to do it, Sherwin?
Drinking.
Okay.
Yeah, they did that. But so apparently in Iowa, what you do is you just drive around with a gun, and if you see a pheasant, you just get out of the car and shoot it. That's what they've been doing.
Well, some of my buddies from high school, they're on their farm. They raised pheasants, so
Yeah.
we'd plant them because bobcats and coyotes and whatnot would just eat them up if you let them run loose. So it's kind of like you shake them up in a bag and you set them loose, and then like an hour later you come back, and they're like giant chickens compared to shooting quail.
Oh yeah,
it's real easy.
So you might as well have you a drink or two. Tori, it is PETM number 222, and for the Georgia Tech folks around, we'll do a little Georgia Tech preview. We'll do a little Chickamauga stuff, but the number 222 for Georgia Tech fans has an interesting significance. Tell the folks about that.
Wait, you're asking me?
I am.
Do you know it?
Well,
we can tell you if you don't know it.
Is that how many points they scored against that blind college that one time?
Yes.
Blind.
Yeah, the Cumberland. Is it what, Cumberland?
Cumberland.
Cumberland.
Yeah, it was Cumberland.
Yeah.
Blind, deaf, and dumb, by the way. Just 222-0. The greatest college football blowout in history, not counting probably later this week. But hey, I'm very self-deprecating on what possibly will happen at the end of this. And Corey, I can't say, you're there in whatever city it is, Iowa, and I can't say I could have pointed to Chickamauga on a map 6 months ago, and now we've had like half a dozen folks from your hometown on. Is Chickamauga the next Hollywood?
Oh yeah, man! It's the next Dollywood. We'll go there first.
Me and my wife went to Dollywood for our anniversary this year. If that ain't...
Did you really? Did she leave you?
No. Not this time. I feel like that's one of the things, if that ain't country, I'll kiss your ass kind of deals, right?
No, that's pretty good,
Hey,
man.
baby, it's our anniversary.
Get the little lady an extra pancake. It's our anniversary.
Yeah, they had fish sticks for dinner.
It was beautiful. Now, y'all, I went on TripAdvisor, and I found the best things to do in Chickamauga since we have two folks from there, and I wanted to see if y'all...
I know. I bet I can guess what the first one was.
Say it.
Drive the fuck to Chattanooga.
True.
Drive up to Lookout Mountain and jump off of it because you are in Chickamauga.
Yeah.
This first one really rang a bell with me here. It's the Chickamauga Coke Ovens. Have you heard of the Coke Ovens?
Yeah.
That's right over there by my buddy DJ's house, right by the trailer park. Right before you get into Wallaceville. Hell yeah, that's where I used to go buy weed up on the big hill.
The trailer park isn't there anymore. They've taken it out.
Well,
we're classy now.
That's true. Well, that's true. That's true. But there are still 2 trailers remaining, one of which my buddy DJ lives in. And y'all know, you boys know DJ, don't you?
Oh yeah.
DJ's awesome, man. Yo.
That's what actually. It's not a trailer park. There's just 2 trailers, which DJ said is way scarier than a trailer park. A lone trailer amongst no trailers is the scariest.
Oh, he's dead right about that, by the way.
So,
but yeah, heck, I know where the Coke ovens are.
Over by, for those who are...
I don't know what they are, for the record. I just know where they are.
I had to look it up because everything...
What do you even do? Like, I understand it's on TripAdvisor, but, like, do you just go stand there and look at it? Is that what they told you to do on TripAdvisor?
Evidently.
Yeah.
Like, you just go see them.
Yeah, because, I mean, I can't speak for Tori here, but, like, I've been in Chickamauga my whole life, and here's what I've done for as far as the Coke ovens is concerned. Drove by them.
Yeah.
I've never, and I was just like, what are the Coke ovens? And Dad was like, who gives a shit? And I was like, all right, cool.
So, evidently.
So like, no, man, that ain't a big deal.
So, when you go look it up, they don't give you any context either. They go, oh, yeah, that's where they made Coke. And you're like, well, I know we're in Georgia, and it's a home of Coca-Cola, but you're looking at these ovens, and you're going, they ain't made no Coca-Cola there, so what in the world Coke is you talking about?
Oh, I think it's the stuff that you snort off the counter.
Well, that's
counter.
No, boys, that requires a tropical climate, which is why it comes from Cuba. I'm not trying to tell on myself here, but no.
No, we weren't doing that.
No, trust me. If they were making cocaine in Chickamauga, people would have money.
That's a good point.
And evidently, Coke is a byproduct of what would you call it? The like charcoal. Like you burn down charcoal and you get Coke. Evidently, and that is good for something. I don't know what. But that's where they ovened it. So right.
What was number 2 on TripAdvisor?
Helicopter Park. Have you been to Helicopter Park?
Yeah, Helicopter Park.
Yeah.
Tori, tell us about Helicopter Park.
So Helicopter Park is literally, I mean, it's a teeny tiny little playground, but what makes Helicopter Park great is that there actually is like a helicopter, like it's up on this pole. It's a helicopter. It's also right across the street from the softball field and baseball field. That's where I play. And every single day we drove by and we saw the Helicopter Park. And is that the actual name of it? Like, it's actually called Helicopter Park?
Honestly, I don't think so. I think that it's named after whatever. There was that specific helicopter came from some battle in World War II or something, and I'm fairly certain that it's named after that, but I couldn't tell you because it's just Helicopter Park.
I'm glad that it's Helicopter Park on TripAdvisory because that's what everybody calls it.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Well, clearly someone from Chickamauga made this list.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? It wasn't me. How about this one? So I'm looking up places to eat. Now, this one, TripAdvisor said it's a nice dinner, and they also categorize it under cheap eats. So, this is somewhere you can take your wife on your anniversary, is what I'm hearing out of this. And it's the Choo Choo BBQ Grill.
Well, I can't take my wife on our anniversary there because she just stopped working there a year ago.
Wow. So we're really hitting home with all this, huh?
Yeah, that is. But the Choo Choo BBQ is a great place. It's good barbecue restaurant. Your standard, meat and 3 sides, all that good stuff.
Well, so
sorry if I'm out of breath. I just walked up the stairs.
No, you.
I've been there. I've been there earlier today, man.
Yeah,
I feel
you good. So your dad has like a whole line of barbecue stuffs, right? That's what you advertise on the show.
He does rubs. Yeah, he's it's Smoky Boys Grill and Rubs. That's for the they do it. All the proceeds go to the Rachel Gamble Memorial Foundation. But it's good stuff.
Cool.
Now, the other restaurant on TripAdvisor, another barbecue joint, Thatchers. So Tori, is Choo Choo or Thatchers? Which one's your favorite?
So I personally like Choo Choo. That's where we go. But the thing with Thatchers is, like, I've only been there once since they changed, like, the new management. It used to be the Smokehouse. And every morning, like, every Wednesday morning, my dad and I would go through Smokehouse and we'd get a biscuit before school. That was, like, back when I rode to school with him.
Yeah. So
for the first, like, majority of my life.
Yeah.
And I like that. So I haven't actually been to Thatcher. Is it Thatchers?
Well, it ain't even there anymore. That's right.
Really? It's not there?
No, those people left, and you might not know this, but that's literally right beside my house where I grew up, and it was always Smokehouse, and I used to love it because, like, my house, it always smelled like barbecue over at the house, and I could walk. But no, Thatcher's was there. They bought it from the Smokehouse people. And then they found that there was like a sinkhole there or something. And so they got out of their lease, hightailed it out, and now they fixed all that mess or whatever. And another barbecue restaurant is about to open over there.
My gosh.
So Thatcher's ain't even it. Yeah.
So y'all go visit Chickamauga, Georgia, see the Coke ovens, the helicopter park, and where Thatcher's BBQ used to be, the big hole. So,
yeah.
We've got it all covered.
Well, then you can go over to Cloud Canyon, and you can go up to Chattanooga, and you can hit it all.
Yeah, I mean, if you're so inclined, but we've got a whole day trip planned for you here in Chickamauga. Tori, what do you look forward to when you go back to Chickamauga? What's a place we've left off the list?
You left off my personal favorite eatery in Chickamauga, which is Los Patros. It is a Mexican restaurant in downtown Chickamauga, which, for the record, downtown Chickamauga has one red light, and it literally is the epitome of what you think of when you think of, like, a deep southern town. Except for the fact that we have a Los Patros. And Los Patros, I would argue, is the best Mexican food that I have ever had. I lived in Athens for 4 years. I've now lived in Atlanta for 2, and I have yet to find a Mexican restaurant that I love more than Los Patros.
No argument here.
Yeah. Is that the kind of place where you can get like a 32-ounce Dos Equis for like $3?
Well, and now, Tori, you may have been there since I have, but in downtown Chickamauga, beer by the drink or whatever is very recent, like the past couple months. So you could get a 32-ounce. We got the Mexican joint on the highway, Guadalajara, but Phil's Primetime Pizza, which is they just started serving beer. Phil's Rolls. So I would say that, yeah, I mean, Los Patros, surely they're doing beer now. Like, they can't not.
I would think so. I don't think I've been since they've had that rule passed or whatever.
Yeah, that was a big day.
So Phil's Pizza was up there on the list. Yeah. I figured I would go for
it's good.
Yeah, I figured I would go for the barbecue showdown here, but Phil's was on there, and I think Los Potros was on there. So y'all hit all the highlights. Corey,
I love that the Trip Advisor was literally just named everything that we do have. Like it's not like those are the best things to do. That's the only things we do have.
So, in sixth place was DJ's trailer, and in seventh place Corey's house.
Yeah, and then lots of people like to throw eggs at my mama's house.
Well, there you go. You've got like I said, you got a whole day trip and night trip. It's
not bad.
You go to the Choo Choo for lunch. Hit up Chickamauga Coke Ovens, Helicopter Park, Thatchers. Drop by the grocery store, get you a dozen eggs, and roll over by Corey's mama's house. Call it a night.
Just cut them loose.
I'll say this though: if you're listening, if you go to Choo Choo on Friday, don't go for lunch. Go for dinner because they got all you can eat catfish.
Oh, look!
Oh,
I will mess
up. Did you just say
all
you can eat catfish?
I sure did.
Oh my God!
Those are few and far between nowadays, and I will mess up all you can eat catfish restaurant.
I will bleep up some catfish.
Yes, sir. So, in a huge coincidence, I think we've talked to both of y'all about it separately. Corey, you played football under Tori's dad as a head coach. So, what was Coach McElhaney like?
Tough love. And I mean, but I'll say this: like, I didn't give him a lot to work with. I was a pretty big shithill in high school, if you could imagine. I'm not much better now, but I do respect older people, I guess. I had a real big problem with authority back then. Now I just hate the cops, but football coaches are fine. But yeah, man. So he didn't have a lot to work with in me, but I did absolutely love the dude. He was always cool to me. I'm not going to act like he grabbed me by the face mask and threw me against the wall or anything. But no, I enjoyed Coach McElhaney. He was a lineman coach and a special teams coach for most of my high school. And then, of course, I didn't play my junior year because I got to do you. And then my senior year, our actual head coach blew his calf muscle out celebrating. And so Coach McElhaney came in as the head coach where he remained. And so, yeah, no, I loved him to death, man. But he would whoop my ass for sure.
Tori, does this sound familiar? The tough love deal? You busted out laughing when he said it.
Yeah, it's funny because my dad was always like my coach growing up. Softball, basketball. He was always the one that was coaching me, and then also I saw him, for the first 17 years of my life, be a football coach, amongst other things, but mainly a football coach, and it was always funny to me kind of seeing him interact with the boys and then seeing him interact with me and my softball team, and really and truly it probably wasn't that different. He was
sure.
Tough love is true, but at the end of the day I think my dad's biggest thing is he's like, I'm gonna be hard on you because I expect a lot from you, but at the end of the day I want you to be able to hug my neck and know that I care about you and love you, and that was always the vibe that I got. And granted, I am his daughter, but that was definitely the tough love type of thing. I think it went a lot deeper sometimes than that.
Yeah,
he's a super great dude.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, that was I think you just described my soccer coach. Despite the fact that I grew up on the south side of Atlanta in a small southern town, my coach was from Jackson, Georgia. And, he'd cuss you out, but you'd run through a brick wall for that man.
Right on.
It's funny that you talk about soccer because Gordon Lee did not have a soccer team. And so when I came to Georgia, that was really the only sport that I really just didn't know how to cover. I did not know soccer, period. Because we didn't have a soccer team. Soccer was it just didn't exist in our part of Georgia. And
look at you now. I've got an Atlanta United pullover on, and you've got an Atlanta United. I can see the NITE on the table in front of you, which I assume is Atlanta United. So you're
look. I have this.
Booyah!
Yeah. Hold on, wait.
Yeah,
see?
That's awesome. So you're all in now.
Oh yeah, for sure. One of my friends she works for the social media department for Atlanta United, and she got me I went to the U.S. Cup Open something and had a blast. I have not had that much fun going to a sporting event. Granted, I cover sports, but so different mindset. But I had so much fun.
Corey, have you lost your mind at a soccer event yet?
Not yet, man. But I know I got to be friends with someone who is she's part owner of the one there in actually Chattanooga's got two, but I think it's the CFC, the Chattanooga Football Club. I met her in Michigan doing something, so I've been promising I was going to go. It looks fun. I'm sure it's great. I don't, like Tori said, we didn't have it, and it just was. Honestly, when I remember being a kid, and it was like, oh, you wimps play soccer and men play football, but like, man, I'm a human with a brain, and I've watched it enough to know that like those guys have to be some of the most athletic people on the entire planet, and to me, foot-eye coordination seems insanely harder than hand-eye coordination. So I'm not one of those Southerners who's like, oh, we got the real football down here. So no, I'm not in yet. I stay pretty busy with wrestling and comic books and hating myself on a daily basis. But I would love to add soccer to my next list of hobbies that my wife will hate.
Well, I think Chattanooga they're in the slate for getting a team, a top-level team.
So, you can go see them there, or, come on down to Atlanta every once in a while, have some fun.
Come on down there and see us. I guarantee you'll have a good time.
I totally agree.
I'm due a trip, man. I'm due a trip to Atlanta for sure.
You know what it is? I've probably talked about it on the show before, but there's a few sports like soccer, hockey, NASCAR that are all action all the time. There isn't like the timeout. Yeah. There's cautions. There's in NASCAR there's first period, second period, third period in hockey, and some stoppage in soccer. But for the most part, let them play. Go. Go and then go see who comes back first.
Yeah, just do your stuff.
So there's something about those types of sports that are a little bit different. They're way fun to watch, especially in person. Let's go ahead. Sherwin, I kind of jumped the gun here, but let's go ahead and tear it down a little bit. We got a little bit to talk about. Jimmy Johnson retiring after 2020. We had Redneck Jesus retire 2 years ago.
Yep.
I don't know what
Dale
Jimmy
Earnhardt Jr., by the way.
I don't know where does Jimmy fall in terms of having a nickname of that caliber. But
well, the thing is,
buddy, you don't have to have a nickname when your name is Jimmy Johnson. That's one of the most redneck NASCAR names I've ever heard. What else are you going to call that guy? Dipspit?
Dipspit's funny. And the greatest thing is he grew up in a trailer park in El Cajon, California. Like, he's redneck to the T.
Right. And he's got the prettiest teeth and like, not like prettiest teeth, but like.
His wife is a model.
Yeah, what a great guy. Sherwin, are you surprised by this one? I mean, I think last week you said 2 more years, and then I think it was 2 days later it was Jimmy Johnson retirement.
I was shocked.
Really?
But then I also wasn't. But at the same time, it's like now we have to celebrate this career that has been every bit as good, if not better, than Dale Earnhardt's, which people are going to lose their minds over because Jimmy's not from North Carolina and doesn't have that backstory that Dale Earnhardt has, although he kind of does.
Sure.
In a lot of ways. I'm a Jimmy Johnson fan for the next year.
There you go. We won't go too deep into it because we got plenty of other stuff to talk about. But big news: Hemrick signing with JRM. GMS shuts down at Xfinity Series, and I like this one. John Hunter Nemechek likely headed to front row in Cup, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's time for him. I feel like his name is falling off my radar in terms of Cup. Thinking about him in Cup. But when I see something like that, headed to front row in Cup, that's a good place for him. I like that.
Yeah, it's a lot like Reddick. I think.
Yeah.
He just wasn't in a similar performing car.
Sure. So let's bring it back to the folks who are on the show with us right now. Falcons and Dan Quinn. Do we have some Falcons fans in the on the PETM podcast right now? Corey, Tori?
Go Titans.
Go Titans.
No.
Okay.
I knew Corey was a
No.
Titans fan. I knew that already.
Too far north for Falcons fandom. Tori, how about you?
No, I don't really. After the Super Bowl, I can't really get on the train again.
You know what? My dad was a fan for however old he is, and after that season, after that Super Bowl, he went, you know what? I'm done, and I'm pretty sure he has not given a half a crap about a Falcons game since. So,
Damn,
it's a tough
that's
deal.
tough.
That's man, I can see it for somebody who has been a diehard for 60 some odd years, has seen every Super Bowl, and then this happens, and it's like, why am I doing this? If you sit down, you're like, why am I here?
Brady, what are you going to do, man?
Well, fair enough.
So, Corey, what y'all got at quarterback over there?
I mean, honestly, I think when Tannehill, when all that first happened, in my opinion, I was like, all right, we've got Mariota 2.0, except for we've got Mariota that's been sitting on the bench. He's looking good right now. He's won 4 out of his 5 starts. I have faith for right now, but at the same time, dude, the Titans, I'm not an analyst or anything like that, but they make the least sense of any football team to me, especially even when I'm a fan of, because like we'll lose to everybody that's terrible. We'll look horrible, but then like last year we turned around and beat the Patriots. This year we turn around. Who we beat last week? I'm sorry, I've been traveling a lot. The Eagle. Like, it's crazy. We look like we're great, and then I don't know, man. I guarantee you that we'll just end up losing out, and Tannehill snap his leg, and we'll end up getting Phillip Rivers or something, and he'll throw 57 interceptions next year and have to retire a sad man, and he'll finally curse. But I don't know, dude. I don't know what we got going on. But when Mariota first got drafted, I said it wasn't it. I said it wasn't going to work. I was like, man, that works in college, but like these defensive ends are going to figure you out and snap your little ankles, and I was correct. And so, whatever, dude. Everything sucks.
Everything sucks.
So what do you think about Lamar Jackson then?
Tearing it up. Looks amazing. That's different, man. That's a whole different thing. Like, that's something I haven't seen since where we're talking about the Falcons, Michael Vick. It looks wild right now.
Well,
and it's fun to watch. I hope nobody figures him out for at least the next year and a half, 2 years, because I want to keep seeing it.
Yeah, I totally agree with you 100%. I think what I see is, in being a Falcons fan, and Rusty may or may not agree with this, is what I see in Lamar Jackson is I see a guy that's almost as fast, has almost as good a vision, but actually understands checkdowns and throws the right pass.
For sure. Well, you shut us down right there, evidently.
Yeah, I think I shut everybody up.
Here's the thing. I get these. I go too far in my head here sometimes because Corey said he throws 57 interceptions. I'm in my head thinking, all right, it's game 16. This is it. Final one. You've thrown 56 interceptions this year. He steps back. He goes, I got it. This is the one. Let's loose on the ball. 30-yard rope. And defensive end stands in front of it. Interception
Just
number 57.
Catches it.
And that's it for the season. But that confidence in throwing the ball that 57th time, going, I got this. I got it. Finally, I'm probably fired after the season, but I'm going to go out with this pass and certainly go out with it.
I shouldn't rip on interceptions too much, because we all know the greatest quarterback of all time is also the leader in interceptions thrown.
Well, that's like Barry Bonds
It's Brett Favre,
striking out more than anybody else.
Oh, Favre was good for 35 touchdowns, but he's also
time,
good for 19
so many
interceptions.
Yeah. So we're going in to Rivalry Weekend.
Gunslinger.
Wanted to get y'all both on here for this. Georgia Tech. You know what? You know what's the bummer for us Georgia Tech fans is that Georgia beat Georgia Tech in basketball this last week. So really, that was like our only chance this year.
That was like Friday night. Wasn't
yeah,
it?
like we might stand a chance in like getting a I don't know, biology scholarship or something over Georgia, or be selected for some weird thing. But basketball, that was our chance. Tori, you got to tell me something positive. Get me going into this game excited, as opposed to just, it's a noon game, so I can only get so drunk. But I'm going to try.
I mean, I really, really want to give you something. I really do.
You can say we've got momentum coming off this, tight win.
I mean, that's the thing is, like, they played better, like, against, Virginia Tech. The Virginia Tech game was bad.
Brutal.
Like, I'm not even
that was
trying,
brutal.
Give y'all anything that even remotely looks like good news, because I'm not going to sugarcoat a 45-0 loss. I'm not.
Right.
But they did bounce back against NC State in the first half. I think if they come out and they can put like 4 quarters together of that first half, it won't be terrible. But I really don't think that Georgia Tech is going to be able to hang with Georgia's defense. I think that's just the whole thing. Like, Georgia's defense, obviously, you can see by like statistical numbers and everything that they're putting up over the season. And even though Georgia Tech's offense is better than it was against Clemson, I still think that Georgia has a better defense than Clemson does. So even with the improvements made, I just don't see it being a very competitive game. And I'm sorry. I wish I could get something better than that.
You don't have to apologize. I convinced a Clemson grad just yesterday to take the 28 points because it already had been bet down from 29.5 on the online betting sites. I said, take it. I said,
I'm
Georgia
pretty
Tech's
sure
defense
that's
is
the largest,
good, and Georgia doesn't score.
Yeah, they don't. And the thing is like, I don't think Georgia has scored more than 28 points since they played Tennessee in Week 5.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Corey?
So.
No offense, Corey.
Corey, we know you're a Georgia fan. Give us a
That
rundown.
sounds about accurate.
Give us a rundown of how y'all could possibly lose this weekend.
Well, I'm gonna agree with almost everything Tori just said, but I will say this: Georgia, over the past 4 or 5 years, historically, I don't know if it's a Kirby Smart thing or whatever, but like we seem to play to the strength of our competitor, which really works out in our favor if in the situation where we have to play an LSU in the SEC championship. But you also saw how we played against South Carolina this year. I'll usually also, you guys know enough about me at this point to know that I'm one of the most pessimistic people on earth. I think we're going to lose every game, no matter how good we are. The only game I thought for sure that we weren't going to lose was South Carolina, and you saw how that worked out.
Mm-hmm.
I do agree our defense is statistically the best defense that we've ever had as a school, period. Fromm has been overthrowing a lot the past 3 or 4 weeks. It should not matter because our defense should hold everybody, and Swift should be able to get it done on some sweeps. I don't think Georgia Tech's going to be able to handle that, but I do think that for the first at least 1.5 quarters, it's going to be closer than everybody thinks because Georgia seems like they're probably going to be a team looking ahead, and Georgia Tech is coming in at least a little pissed off with a chip on their shoulder after what just happened to them. So, again, I do think we're going to end up walking away with it, but I don't think it's going to be as much of a runaway in the first quarter and a half as everybody.
Yeah, I think
that's my 2 cents. I'm always wrong.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I think we're looking at a 35-13 or a 28-13 kind of game.
We can only hope.
I agree with that, but I think that I think that Georgia Tech will get all 13 of those points in the quarter and a half. Do you know what I mean? And I think it'll look good for a second, and then we'll get cussed out at halftime and get our shit together, and Swift will end up getting 250 or something, and then probably snapping his ankle, and then we'll lose every other game for the next, rest of my life.
Swift scares me to death.
We'll get 10 of those points on defense too if it's 13 there.
Right. We might return a punt. We did that for the first time a few weeks ago in like 10 years.
Yeah. Tori, what do you do as Georgia Tech? So one of the things we were kind of disappointed with in like our first 2 games, especially first game against Clemson. How about that kind of bookend? We played Clemson to start, we played Georgia to end. Like that's a mess. But in that first game, we were a little disappointed that, hey, you're coming into this game severe underdogs, and deservedly so, but why not do something wacko, do something crazy, do something different, just to show people, hey, this is what we're here for.
Install the whole offense,
right?
Maybe?
Just do something different, and it felt like we went in and just kind of did a little bit of Paul Johnson and a little bit of.
We ran the veer out of the shotgun all year.
Yeah. So what do you do different going into the Georgia game that prevents a 45-0 blowout at home by Virginia Tech?
Well, talking about the Clemson game, I personally don't think Georgia Tech could do that offensively at that time. Like, you talk about doing something different, and, theoretically, I think that is something that, like, yeah, you're going up against Clemson, like, week 1, like, the number 1 team in the country. Like, let's just throw the kitchen sink at them. But I don't think that Georgia Tech was ready as an offense to do that yet. You have to think about how the transition went up until that point. Like, they hadn't had very many practices just in the system alone. So they also didn't know what quarterback was going to play. They played 3 quarterbacks in that game. Like, those type of things I don't think breed that type of offense. But now I think it's a very different beast in mentality for Georgia Tech, kind of coming now into game 12. And you see kind of their offense, doing more things. I know that sounds pretty generic and pretty simple, but they really are. And it is a situation where, I go out to practice twice a week, have been going out to practice twice a week since the beginning of the season. Before that, every single day during the spring and almost every single day during the fall. I feel like people don't believe me when I say that this offense is getting better and they're able to do more things, whether it's the offensive line and pass protection, whether it's James Graham getting more comfortable in the pocket, whatever the case may be. I feel like people don't really believe me when I say that, but I do think it's true because I've seen it with my own eyes, and I can only say it so many times before people are like, yeah, I know she doesn't know what she's talking about. But really and truly, you're looking at a situation where the mindset has to be different for Georgia Tech coming into Georgia than it was Clemson week, because there has to be a little bit more confidence. I know they lost to Virginia Tech 2 weeks ago and got throttled, but there has to be a better sense of being comfortable in the system and what they're doing. In my mind, there has to be.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think the progression of James Graham has been very impressive to watch. The Virginia Tech game aside, obviously that was pretty brutal, and maybe that was a learning experience. But that kid can throw and he can run. He's got it.
Yeah. So, well, maybe next year.
He's a redshirt freshman.
I'm super impressed, if nothing else, with the hustle that our 2 guests have tonight. Because Tori is out there. She said going to every practice, going to every game, making sure she's down there, seeing what's happening, talking to the folks. Corey's out there, and who knows where Iowa, and it's snowing. And I mean, you can't even get me near snow right now. We've got an office in Burlington, Vermont, and I'm not going there until May.
Oh, you got to go,
right? And here I am with these 2 folks hustling and working so hard, and I'm bitching about the stoplight that I missed and made me get third in line at Starbucks on my 4-mile journey to work every day.
Corey's hollering at Amber with his thing on mute. That's funny.
Oh yeah.
So
hey, you said you got an office in Burlington?
We do, yeah.
I love Burlington, dude. I love. Hey, what's that? It's down there. Y'all got a little square situation, right? Where it's I want to say, do y'all have a little cobblestone square area with bars and stuff?
Where, in Burlington?
Am I wrong? Yeah, in downtown Burlington.
I hadn't been there enough to know, but yes, there's kind of the square area, and they don't have any traffic in that area. So, and that's where the Ben and Jerry's is, the original Ben and Jerry's.
They probably do have the old
horse
and buggy.
It's the right spot, right around the corner from that. It's like some pizza place that I went to and got drunk at last time. It was really sweet.
Sweet, yeah.
I like Burlington. That's good folk, man. Good folk up there.
I liked it a lot. I will again. I refuse to go from now till May. But in between the lines, I'm a big fan. I'm happy with it. So let's go ahead and gas it up. We've talked about football. We talked about Chickamauga. Now we're going to talk about Turkey Day. We got the Thanksgiving going on. Corey, let's start with you. What are you doing for Thanksgiving?
Well, first off, it's a little different because we're actually doing Christmas. We're flipping it. Okay. So every year. My wife, Amber, that's why we're in Iowa, her family is all from here, and we have me and the boys, we being me, Drew, and Trey, the Well Read Comedy Show, we have sort of like a yearly residency in Nashville. We always do the Christmas shows, the ones right before the weekend before Christmas. It used to be Ralphie May's weekend, and he passed away, and they gave us the honor of having it, which is insane.
Wow, that's
so
cool.
When that happened, I had to tell Amber, I was like, look, I'm just not going to be able to come to Iowa every year because we've got this residency at Zany's, and I really want to keep it going. So because of that, because I'm a huge asshole and don't care about my family and only care about my career, we are doing Christmas at Thanksgiving. So like whatever it is, her grandmother cooks oyster stew, and we're doing the where you steal the presents or whatever. You know what's that
like
thing called?
Elephant game.
Dirty Santa.
Dirty Santa. That's the one.
So we're doing Dirty Santa and having oyster stew and all sorts of dips and snacks and stuff like that. That'll be tomorrow night, which we're considering our Christmas Eve, even though it's actually Thanksgiving Eve. And then Thanksgiving, we're doing the whole opening presents Christmas thing. So a little different, but, still stuffing and turkey and fat.
Fat. Tell me about oyster stew, because I'm like intrigued right now.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. We're going to talk about some of the famous side dishes that we all have, but you've brought that one up. What's the deal with oyster stew?
Now, I don't know exactly how most people do it, but I feel like when you think of stew, you think of sort of like a brown, like that, like a gumbo looking thing. It's actually, I want to say, I don't know if it's like a chicken broth that just becomes seafoody once you put the oysters in it, or if they actually have some sort of seafood broth. When I make mine, I use chicken stock. I make my own chicken stock and throw some oysters and butter and shit ton of MSG. Just I don't want to live too long, and all that good. So it's almost like a cream of oyster soup, really. But it's like brothy with a little cream added in there. I don't know, man. It's just good shit. I don't have like a recipe or nothing, but I sort of just guessed what Grandma Sandy was doing, and it's my favorite thing. Oysters all year long for me.
Dude, you gotta like do a YouTube video of you making it and give everybody the recipe.
It's funny, man. So. My mom always tells me that. All my friends tell me that. My manager definitely does. And I do have I can't tell you exactly about it, but I did just shoot a pilot with Food Network that's coming out in March where sweet. I will be doing stuff like that. It's different, though. It's in the barbecue world. But, I keep telling everybody on Facebook, is I don't have recipes. I like my shit. There's a couple things that I do every time pretty much the same way because it's kind of like writing a joke. Like when I first started doing it, I just threw a bunch of stuff together. And the second time I did it, I was like, that didn't work. So I took it out. And then the third time I was like, what if I added this? And after 4 or 5 years, it became how a joke is. This is it, word for word. But most things when I go in the kitchen, I just throw them together. I don't think a video of that would be conducive to learning how to cook. And I don't know. It might be funny though. I don't cook like a normal person.
Well, Bert's
Crusher,
is burning. That thing's funny as hell.
Well, it is, but Bert also has Bert does a lot better than me. I've been to his house, and he's got a whole production team and shit. It would just be me and Amber, and she ain't gonna do it.
She ain't gonna do it.
She'll just cuss at you from the background, right?
I can relate.
She ain't gonna cook. You think her ass is gonna film somebody cooking? No. Ridiculous.
I can relate in that, being from the South, and probably for me, I make the turkey, I make the dressing, or I make all this other stuff, but my pride and joy is the dressing, because that comes from my great-grandmother's recipe. And learning how to make that, like you said, there is no recipe for this. Great-grandma said, and I've actually got her instructions that I had her write down before she died, and it says, put enough chicken stock in there till it's wet, but you don't want it gloopy. So it's like, all right.
Yeah, you can't have it gloopy. No gloop.
You don't want it gloopy. You want it wet, but it shouldn't be gloopy. Now you need to put some sage in there, and if you can find some, if you grew some sage, that's pretty good. But put some in there till it tastes right. You know what I mean? So you need enough sage that it tastes right, and you need enough chicken stock so it's not gloopy, but it's wet. And so being able to perfect what that even means is. It's a big sense of pride for me to be able to even make that. So I feel you on just going in the kitchen, throwing stuff together, making it happen. Tori, tell us about some of your favorite dishes that are coming through. Any traditions with best sides? Anything that y'all have going?
Oh man, well it's funny that you It's funny that you mentioned your great grandmother because my mama, she does the exact same thing. She always says like she can't write it down for us because it's a feel thing.
Yeah.
Quote unquote. Like, and I'm like, okay, mama, but like you're not going to be here forever. Like, I need to be able to make this because I would argue.
That's what they love to hear.
Really, yeah. I honestly, I'd argue that like. And all respect to your great grandmother and everything, but I would put my mama's dressing up against anyone in the world. Like there's no way that anybody can make better dressing than her. And so I really, truly, I just want her to write it down, but it would be the exact same thing. Put in like a sprinkle of sage, but not too much, but not enough. And it's like, what the heck does that mean? Like, that's where I'm living. But this is the first time in my 23 years of life that like my entire family won't be together for Thanksgiving because my sister lives in Orlando now, and so my mom, and my little sister are down in Orlando right now visiting her. I have to stay in Atlanta, obviously, because it's Georgia Tech week. I'm very, very busy, so I'm gonna finish up like practice tomorrow and availabilities tomorrow and drive back home to be with my dad and my grandparents on Thursday. So it's really busy because Thanksgiving always falls during Georgia Tech week, but it's fine. You make it through. Yeah.
No, and I totally understand. Maybe that's a Southern thing. That dressing, like the turkey is, I'm going to smoke a turkey and it's going to be good. I know it's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. But the dressing, I think, is where I don't know, things shine. And that's where the, what would you call it? The tradition of what your family does with the dressing. I feel like the dressing is almost bigger than the turkey, Well,
yeah, Thanksgiving is it's a sides holiday for sure.
Yeah.
So and that's where it gets weird for me because I've got a dad from the West Coast. Now, he's been on the East Coast for 45 years. But, like, he makes the best mashed potatoes ever been made, ever. So, I'm on the same page with Tori about grandma's dressing or
right.
or your grandma's dressing.
Well, that's the whole deal.
But we do stuffing.
Okay.
Like, there's, like,
so what is the difference between stuffing and dressing?
Stuffing goes in the bird. Dressing's made in a pan separate.
Yes, sir.
But is it the same thing?
No,
not really. Not really. No.
No, like so. What my mom does, and this I believe this is coaching that she gets from my dad, is that she sautés onions and celery in butter on the stove.
I mean, that's step one to pretty much every dressing. So
and then
we're good now.
Heats up chicken broth, and then, or actually, no, she takes the turkey. She makes turkey broth out of the neck and the giblets. That are in the little bag thing you pull out of the turkey.
Oh yeah, that'll be on my stove here in about 24 hours.
Yeah. So she takes that broth and then she pours it over Pepperidge Farms, like, toasted cubes.
Oh, she's going for the bag,
which you can buy in the bag.
Ooh, look out! That's
and then that we have a whole batch that goes in the turkey, and then there's like an extra batch that goes in the oven because my dad wants to have like Thanksgiving 3 times. So like there's extra.
Yeah.
So yeah, my great grandma recipe starts with, if you're on Thanksgiving Day, then 2 days ago you need to have made cornbread. Make sure you did that, and then yesterday you need to have made biscuits. And don't skimp on this stuff. You need to make real homemade biscuits 2 days prior or 1 day prior. You got to make cornbread 2 days ago and put that out on the windowsill. But don't only crack the window open a little bit because you don't want it to get too cracked. And you're like, good grief, this is how you make dressing? You got to have all these windows.
Yes, it is.
I did not know there was this much temperature stuff going into this, but it is what it is. Let's talk about the day after Thanksgiving is Black Friday. And Corey, I want to know, have you purchased your nunchucks and your brass knuckles to go down to Walmart and beat the crap out of somebody? Because, I mean, that's just what you do, evidently, on Black Friday, right?
Well, actually, here's what I'm doing. So we're staying an extra day in Webster City because Amber doesn't get to see her family a lot, and it's her cousin and aunts and all the grandma and yada, 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 and they are going to go to Webster City is about an hour 15 from Des Moines, and Des Moines has a pretty nice mall. So they're actually going to go to the mall, not Walmart. And what I'm going to do, me and Amber are going to then leave straight from Des Moines and drive about 6 or 7 hours to get a hotel so we can get home in 2 days. What I'm going to do is I'm probably just going to drive to Des Moines and then pick her up when she's done shopping. I'm going to either go see the Joker again or go see Ford versus Ferrari. I think I'm going to go with Joker again, and let me tell you why, boys. If you're ever on the road, this is a trick. If it's the day after Thanksgiving, you've already had a bunch of turkey and a bunch of stuff, and you're trying to let your wife do her thing, and you need to kill some time, go see a movie that you've already seen. That way you don't care if you pass smooth out during it, which is what I will do. So I'll probably pass out during it, or if there's a good comic book store in Des Moines, which I have to imagine that there are, I'll probably go check out some comic books and see if I can get some good deals because I read them too quick. I've already read. We just got here, and I've already read my 5 that I brought for the trip, so I need to restock.
That is like
I need to go see the Joker.
That's
I really
it's
do.
good. It's good. Yeah, it's good.
Life hack pro tip A number 1.
Yeah.
Go to a movie you done seen so you can pass right out during it. I'm digging it.
Smooth out.
Smooth out, yeah.
If you're on the road, man, and I learned that because when the AMC card first came out, I got it, and the road comic told me, because like what happens is you'll get into town a lot, and let's say like most of the time a hotel's like you can check in by 12, but sometimes they're pretty strict on that 3 o'clock policy. And my plane will land at like 10, and I'm in town, and the hotel won't let me, get checked into my room, and I'm super tired. So I had this card for $9 a month. I could just go to a movie theater and sleep for 3 or 4 hours, and then go check into my room. So
I have heard that both. It's funny you mentioned both
hilarious.
those. I've heard that both those movies are fantastic, and that I need to see them. So
yeah,
I've got some
stuff
to do.
I saw Joker super late. I saw it last week, but man, it was something else, dude. And he obviously plays a stand-up comedian in it, so it hit a little close to home. But yeah, it was good.
Tori, are you looking to beat up anybody at Walmart this coming Friday?
So I am a Cyber Monday gal.
Ah.
I don't. Yeah, that's just the move. You can't pay me to go be around those insane people that early in the morning. First off, I do not wake up early at all. That's the glorious part about being a sports writer is like you don't have to get up super early.
For sure.
Which was probably a big reason why I chose this career path, but that I digress. But I will say that like Cyber Monday is usually where I get all of my deals and fines. So I will not be participating in Black Friday. I've never participated in Black Friday, and I don't plan to ever. Not when like it's as convenient as it is to get on my laptop and order whatever the heck I want.
Here.
Yeah. No kidding.
What is it? I was going to say, it reminds me of some of the songs that come out that are like, hey, what was the one, like, Welcome to Atlanta? What song was that?
Hold on. Hold up. It's Welcome to Atlanta, where the players play it is by Jermaine Dupri and Ludacris. It's one of the greatest songs of all time, and I will have you put respect on it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that was out when I was in college. And I believe they said parties don't stop till 8 in the morning. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
So
that's why Waffle House was invented.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
invented
In Atlanta, by the way.
Yeah.
By Georgia Tech graduates.
So it's funny to me, like, where is the threshold of it's not okay anymore to continue partying, right? So it's like parties don't stop till 8 in the morning. Like, wow, that you're really partying quite a lot. Like, the sun is generally up at 8 in the morning. If you go to 10 in the morning, or they don't stop till noon, or they don't stop till 1, like, hey, it's the next day now. You're well into it. And I feel like it goes the opposite direction every Black Friday. Like, all the stores are like, we're opening at 4 a.m., we're opening at 3 a.m., we're opening at midnight, we're opening at 8 p.m. You're like, well, it's yesterday now. We're still eating dinner. We're still doing the turkey and stuff. Like, you can't open yet. So, to Tori's point, trying to get up while we're doing all that, I don't know what to say. I ain't into it.
Man, and I'm gonna seem like a wimp here, but like my thing is, like, I know that everybody that goes Black Friday shopping isn't a violent, homicidal maniac. I'm aware of that. They all can't be. But every single year, there will be videos of people getting their ass whipped for $10 off of a TV or some shit like that. Blah 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 blah. So honestly, just from a moral standpoint, I cannot contribute to that, because if you go out there, even if you're not one of those people, you're the ones contributing to the pandemonium, and it's ridiculous. That's the stupidest. Or don't make me get political right now, but God damn it, that is capitalistic brainwashing that we've been getting in. That's consumerism, and they want you to do that, brother. They want you to get out there and fight everybody, because then you get your brains knocked in. You can't contribute to society anymore, except for on a factory line where they can control you.
That's right. And you know what? In the end, we all go out to eat at El Patron Restaurant in Chickamauga, Georgia. Not Patron, whatever it was.
That's the tequila.
Los Patros. That means the Patros.
The Patros. I'm digging it.
The Patros.
We'll go full circle on that, and let's start closing this thing out. Tori, tell the folks what's coming up, where they can find you.
So y'all can follow me on Twitter. It's at Tori_McElhaney. McElhaney is spelled McElhaney. I get that it's difficult. Just roll with it. And I work for The Athletic. I cover Georgia Tech full time. You can catch my stories on The Athletic's website. Subscribe if you haven't already. You get access to anything and everything that we provide, which is a lot. And I'm not just saying this because I work for them. I had a subscription before I worked for them. So even if you're not a Georgia Tech fan, we have NASCAR stuff. We have boxing, Premier League soccer, NFL, NBA, anything and everything that you want. So plug in my company real hard right now.
Yeah, well,
I'm going to plug her company too, because I'm a subscriber and a fan, and was a fan before I knew that Tori was a contributor, and that was actually how I found out that yet someone else from Chickamauga was doing big things, because it's an absolutely tremendous sports publication. Couldn't say enough good things about it, and I can't believe that someone from Chickamauga is doing better than me. It makes me curious.
Well, so for everyone out there that's listening right now, Tori, I'd love for you to connect with Jeff.
Whoa, was that like a Freudian slip?
That might have been a Freudian slip. Sorry. I'd love
Tori, I love you too.
I'd love for you to connect with Jeff Gluck, who also writes for The Athletic. He's on the NASCAR side of the program. And if you go to jeffgluck.com, you can still get the 40% discount on the monthly subscription to The Athletic.
Dude, The Athletic is, I don't know if we call ourselves all zombies to it or whatever, but it truly is. It's the greatest publication out there for sports right now. And I follow everything that has to do with racing, and I follow Tori. And that's the cool part, is that you get to pick, where you want to see things come in from. Yep. And every day I get this rundown. And every day, here's the thing, I get all these spam emails every day. Not spam necessarily, but like, hey, LinkedIn says you should be looking at this thing. Hey, this other thing says this. And then, and I'm deleting all these. And every time I see The Athletic, and I'm like, and I check it to delete it. And then I look at the headline, and it's like, oh, this thing that you're super duper interested in, Russie. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to go read that. And the next thing I know, I've spent the first hour of being at work. I hope my boss isn't listening. Reading all The Athletic stuff. So it's I don't know what to say. It's the best sports publication
also,
out there.
Spotter Brett is a contributor.
That's pretty awesome.
He's got an opinion column.
Yeah. Corey, close us out. Tell us what you're up to. What's coming up?
Coming up, last tour date of 2019 is, like I was saying, at Zany's, the best comedy club in the country, December 19th through the 22nd. That is the Well-Read Christmas shows. It's going to be a little different. If you have seen us already this year, we're doing sort of like a stand-up / play / sing-along hybrid thing that we've sort of written. We're we're nuts. So we got that, and then 2020 dates will come out fairly soon, but we're taking a break to work on some stuff. One of those things is our Comedy Central sketches, one of which I know will come out before Christmas because we're shooting it next week in LA. Other than that, just go to wellreadcomedy.com, WELLRED comedy.com, which is also how our podcast is spelled. And if you want to see more on me, just go to Corey Ryan Forster on Google and stuff will pop up. I've said that a lot before.
I was about to say that ain't your first rodeo on that.
That was a pitch, buddy.
That was perfect. Well, y'all know where you can find us, PETMpodcast.com, at PETM Podcast. And we've had a blast having Corey and Tori on with us. As always, I'm Rusty Wallace at Tailgate Mayor.
And I'm Andrew Sherwin at Pregame Engineer and Andrew L. Sherwin on Instagram. Boys and girls, stick around for just a couple minutes.
Y'all, I hope y'all have a fantastic Thanksgiving. I know the season is over. As usual, you know the PTM Posse and the PTM Podcast. We're going to be around. The rest of this, I'm taking a little bit of vacation,
Yeah,
so
I
we'll
know
have to
you're
figure
going
that out.
off. I told them we were going to be maybe absent for about 2 weeks, but mostly going to be around.
We'll be right back at it, and it's going to be a blast. Can't wait to talk to y'all then, and we'll see y'all next week.
I was about to ask you if we should chat or what. I didn't know if they were going to come back on.
We're coming back, y'all.
I think they're probably doing like their sign-off thing, but we could probably go, I guess.
Probably.
Duh.
I think we're okay.
No, you're good. No, that was actually hilarious.
I'm leaving that part in.
Okay, all right. Well, bye, Tori. Nice to meet you in video form.
Nice to meet you too.
Tori,
Good to see you, boys.
Thank you so much, Corey. This is awesome.
I'm going to be in touch with you, Corey, about Nashville. I think I'm probably going to go.
Oh, man. All right. Well, thank you guys for having me on. Tonight was fun.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Tori,
being
this
here.
has been awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out and being a good sport.
Absolutely. That's the only way to be.
Awesome. Well, we'll talk to you.
Right.
We'll talk to you next time for the PhD episode.
Maybe Saturday we'll see you.
Yeah. Let me know. I should have a little more time on Saturday than I did last Thursday. Thursday was crazy.
Thumbs up. We're in.
Awesome.
Take care.
All right. Y'all have a good rest of your week.
See ya,
Thank
Tori.
you.
Bye.
There it is. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope y'all had fun. I had fun. For
That
us,
was pretty fun.
For us, it's kind of like talking to friends. You know what I mean? Like, hey, what's happening? How we doing? Good to talk to everybody.
What's
I
the
hope
wall
y'all
saying? I
have
hope
had
they
some
had a
friends.
good time.
What are y'all doing for Thanksgiving, everybody? Hey, Beast, I know you won the deal with CJ. Did you get that hat yet? And if you did, please send me a picture because I want to see it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The signed hat. That was pretty cool.
That was a sweet hat.
Had a lot of really awesome signatures on it.
Yeah, it did.
Faux show. Well, y'all, that's it. We did it. We did another thing. We hope y'all, like Rusty said, have a great Thanksgiving. We certainly had a lot of fun the last hour and 10 minutes or so, and that's the way we do it every week. It's just trying to have fun and trying to make something that you guys might find entertaining to listen to.
You know what's fun is talking about Thanksgiving with everybody because it really is. I know people have said this, and I don't know if other people try to like be edgy about saying that I like Thanksgiving more than Christmas. And I don't know if people are trying to be
Some
edgy
people
with that.
do that.
Listen, I thoroughly I do enjoy Thanksgiving more than any other holiday for me, just because we've talked about it. My whole family comes over and everything, and I'm doing the cooking and whatnot. But I love, even though it is really 3 days of preparation for. I mean, how long do you really eat? Maybe 20 minutes that you're eating this thing. But the culmination of everything that comes together and all that, man, I just love it. I love me some Thanksgiving. So you know what? If there's folks out there who are, I'll say, in the closet in terms of like, you know what, I really like Thanksgiving and Christmas just gives me all this stress and whatnot. Hey, I'm with you. It's all good. Yeah, Roger says 20 minutes? So, yeah, I know what you mean, man. Yeah, maybe 15. I don't know. My family eat 20 minutes. We gonna go back for seconds, and then we're miserable, and we're going back for thirds, and now we're just completely out of the game. Yeah. And then dessert rolls around. We're all just, all right, what's for dessert? And somebody says apple pie with caramel sauce, and you're like, bring it on.
Bring it on. Come on.
Yeah. What are we doing? So yeah.
Fight.
Love me some things. Beast just said it right. We graze for hours. Graze is a word right there. Yeah. That's a word worth having. Well done. And Beast, I didn't look before. Did you get that tamales? All right. Did you get that hat yet? Did you hook it up with CJ? Because I want to see pictures of that hat. I know. I kind of saw pictures of it when he sent it, but I want to see real pictures of it.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
and we'll certainly retweet it.
That's right. That's right.
A lot. Because we love CJ. We wouldn't have him on the show if we didn't.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time to shut her down. Can't wait to see y'all on the other end of Thanksgiving. We'll talk about all the stories, all the crazy crap that happened, and whatever silly season stuff. Sherwin, do we have anybody lined up yet?
Not yet. I don't have anybody to announce. I've been working on. I wanted to get somebody creative.
Okay.
And kind of not step outside the box. Just somebody we hadn't had yet. A bachelor's degree, if you will.
Right on. All right, y'all. Can't wait to see y'all on the other side of Thanksgiving. We hope y'all have an awesome Thanksgiving. I know mine is going to be, as soon as I go make some cornbread, because, Meemaw's recipe said I need to make it tonight. So
well,
we're going to make that happen.
Eric Kepner told me, the other day, he said, yeah, we got your RSVP on the podcast. And then I was like, all right, I better send his wife a text message saying, yes, I'm coming.
Oops.
Whoops.
All right, y'all. Happy Thanksgiving. We'll talk to y'all next week.